था गया उसकी तो कितना मजा आए.
Hello, Vamika. So, were you ever a kid?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Okay, so tell me, what were you doing at the age of 9?
At the age of 9, I don't know, studying, going for dance class, stuff like that.
Now, yeah, dance and all. Okay, so consider Ryan Kaji. At age 9, he is a YouTube sensation. He has his own channel called Ryan's Toy Review, where he tries out new toys, and he has this huge audience among kids. And he has 8 million subscribers, and in the last year, he earned $22 million. In fact, he has his own show on Nickelodeon, and he also has associations with brands like Walmart and Target, who use his brand to sell their own products.
Wow, at the age 9, that is quite crazy.
So Ryan is one of those kid influencers which retailers and brands have been using these days to reach out to kids. And let's talk to Ryan. What does he have to say about his audience?
Why do you think all these kids out there like watching your videos?
Because I'm entertaining and I'm funny.
But the question here is, why do kids like him? What's the secret recipe? And that's exactly what we'll be discussing today. Hello everybody, my name is Utkarsh and I am joined by my good friend Vamika. And today, in our podcast, we'll be looking at the psychology behind marketing to kids. We'll look at the brands that have successfully done this in the past. And finally, we will also look at the ethical and legal considerations about this topic. So to start off, Vamika, you tell me, what were some of your most memorable brands as a kid?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is definitely Cheetos. So I was a huge Pokemon fan, and so I used to really look forward to Cheetos because you used to get those free Pokemon toys, Tazos, and I used to love collecting those and exchanging them with my friends at school. And in fact, that was like an integral part of my childhood.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there because I had like a few thousand Beyblades and those Tazos, and that was the only reason I would buy Uncle Chips and Cheetos. And I think that was one of my most prized possession as a kid.
Yeah, but you know what's super interesting? That even today, brands are using the same tactic. I mean, look at Kinder Joy. It's definitely the Cheetos of this generation. And in fact, they entered the Indian market quite late, but have still become like the top player in India with 1,500 crore revenue per year. And the secret behind their success is that they have this freebie that they give. And you know how kids are, right? They're so imaginative, so creative. So they're really attracted to the freebie that Kinder Joy gives. And that's how they've made insane amount of sales in the past few years.
Crazy. So let's start off our podcast by understanding exactly how a kid's mind works, because it's very different from how our minds as adults work. And also for our listeners, in this podcast, when we talk about kids, we're considering the age group of 4 to 10. And in order to understand how a child's brain develops, we spoke to a psychologist and a professor from Bhopal. And here's what she had to say about this topic.
तो माइंड इज अ काइंड ऑफ मतलब कॉन्शियस पार्ट जो है, तो उसके हिसाब से हम लोग ये कहते हैं कि उसमें 3 हिस्से हैं, एक ईड और ईगो और सुपर ईगो ऐसे कहलाता है. तो ईड पार्ट इज सेल्फिश पार्ट, जो कि बेसिकली अपनी नीड्स को जानता है और वो और कुछ नहीं समझता. तो उसकी जो डेवलपमेंट होती है तो वो उस समय ये जानता है कि मुझे भूख लग रही है, ये मेरे खाने की चीज है, ये मुझे चाहिए. तो वो ये जानता है सिर्फ कि ये दिस आई वांट. उसके आगे पीछे का वो कुछ नहीं सोचता था. वो जब 3 साल का रहता है उस समय तक वो डेवलप होना उसका जो ईगो पार्ट होता है. ईगो मतलब जो हम नॉर्मल लैंग्वेज में जिसको ईगो कहते हैं, ये वो ईगो नहीं होता. ये अलग ईगो वर्ड उसको दिया है, लेकिन वो जो पार्ट है ना, वो ये समझता है कि क्या अच्छा है और क्या बुरा है. और सुपर ईगो पार्ट जो है वो हमेशा आइडियल चीजों पे ही काम करता है. मतलब वो आइडियोलॉजी एक तरह से सुपर ईगो पार्ट कहलाता है. तो ईगो डेवलप होना शुरू हो जाता है 3 to 5, और 5 के बाद जो होता है वो उसका सुपर ईगो जो पार्ट होता है, जो अच्छा आइडियल वाला पार्ट जो होता है ना, वो डेवलपमेंट उस एज पे होती है.
Right. So it was quite interesting how she spoke about the child's mental development. Actually, there's another theory. It's called the four cognitive stages of childhood development. And basically, in that, what they say is that when children are between the age of 2 and 7, they start to develop memory and imagination. So they're at their peak curiosity and they're able to understand things symbolically and understand ideas of the past and the future. And then comes the age between 7 to 11. During this stage, children become much more aware of external environment and as well as feelings other than their own. So they become less egocentric, and I guess they begin to understand that not everyone shares their thoughts, beliefs, or feelings. So the idea is that from this age, which is 2 to 11, children are quite naive. They pay attention to advertisements, and this gives marketing and brands a huge opportunity to really influence their minds and get them to buy certain products. After the age of 11, they become much older, they become more mature, and that's when they start like looking at things more logically and rationally. So I guess this is when they start developing their more adult brain.
Right, definitely. And since we're talking about advertisements here today, I think it is imperative that we talk about persuasion. The established route of persuading adults is either through rational arguments, which is called central processing, or through stuff like music, colors, jingles, etc., which are peripheral cues. Um, do you think this applies similarly to kids? I'm sure it doesn't.
Yeah, actually, this is really interesting. But what we found is that there is research that shows that kids actually view most ads peripherally. That means that music, background, superheroes, all of these make a huge difference to them. And we spoke to a few kids, just hear them talk about their favorite ad. So, Arna, which is your favorite ad?
My ad, it's the Chocos one. It's so good. There's that Coco monkey. He does all those stunts, and then there's all that nice music. And there's such cool flavors like choco vanilla and all. It's so good. It's like choco and vanilla, and they come in so many shapes. I really like them.
Okay, let's just see the ad in question, right? Let's see what the big deal is about.
Chocolate!
Yum, vanilla.
Kellogg's Chocos Duet, खाने को ये treat. Kellogg's Chocos Duet with chocolate और vanilla mix. Yum chocolate!
Yum, vanilla.
तो kids नया Chocos Duet खाओ क्योंकि vanilla और chocolate का double मजा चाहिए ही चाहिए.
I think, yeah, I mean, I totally get why a kid would like this. It has fast music, jingles, it even has a cartoon character in it. And no wonder Arnav here likes this ad.
Yeah, I know, I agree. But another interesting thing is that while it's true that kids look at all these other factors like music and background colors, etc., if an ad actually tries to make a bad argument, for example, an ad says that if you eat this toffee, you'll become Superman. Kids are able to identify this ad as false. And then they're really quick to judge the product as bad as well.
So basically, you can't fool kids that much also.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think historically, we've seen that brands have always tried to advertise to kids. Be it your iconic action ka school time ad, or be it your SL world में रहूंगा मैं, घर नहीं जाऊंगा मैं. And the real reason why brands have so desperately wanted to advertise to kids is because kids have a superpower. Their superpower is called pester power.
Yeah, so there was this time once when we went into a shop, my mom and me and my brother, and then we were just looking through for fun, and then we saw this Epic, the latest flavor of Mentos. It was the rainbow flavor, which was very good, and then it was all the different type of flavors mixed, and then we really wanted it. We begged our mother, but our mother said we can't get it, it's too much price. And then we tried so much, but she kept on saying no and making excuses. I didn't like that.
अरे पूछो मत, तंग कर देते हैं। कभी तो दुकान में जाओ तो किसी चीज़ के पीछे पड़ जाएंगे, जब तक लेकर नहीं दो घूमते रहेंगे, वही चीज़ के लेने के लिए बोलते रहेंगे। फिर अंत में इतना तंग करते हैं कि दिलाना ही पड़ता है।
Oh God, I really feel sorry for parents. In fact, it's found that over 25% of parents take their children with them when they shop. So I can only imagine how much this pester power comes into picture when parents are taking their children to these shops. In fact, we spoke to a famous child psychologist in Mumbai, and she explained how pester power has actually increased nowadays because of the increased screen time. Here's what she had to say.
A part of the brain which we call as a frontal lobe, which is involved in planning, which is involved in being able to regulate themselves. Okay, which means if I'm feeling upset, then I want something and therefore I'm upset. But if I tell you that, okay, I'll give it to you after like say few hours or even after a few days, the ability to hold that excitement inside, the ability to be okay with getting it after some time, which we call as delayed gratification, is becoming lesser because of this. I mean, they all know that at the touch of a button, I get what I want, right? In terms of when you start using devices. So the ability to be able to hold on to what is not immediately available is diminishing. So you're seeing more behavior tantrums in children, wherein I want something and I just want it. I don't know how to wait. I don't know how to wait for my turn. I don't know what it is to get something only on certain occasions.
Right.
So those skills are beginning to diminish in children with respect to the current view of devices. And that is where all the advertising happens, right?
You're right. I mean, screen times have increased universally, and even brands have been able to identify this, and they've been able to see how addicted kids are to the mobile phone or a laptop or a TV. So we spoke to some kids about what kind of ads they watch and where exactly they're watching these ads.
Can you recollect few advertisements that you watched?
Pediasure advertisements, Holic advertisements, Nangro, then BMW cars advertisements.
Okay, where do you typically watch advertisements?
In TVs.
I watch Ryan. He gives these toy reviews and he's super cool. He really makes buying stuff from Amazon easy.
So Arnab, where all have you seen advertisements?
I've seen advertisements on TV, like watching news and when there's half times and breaks in matches. And they even come on YouTube like pop-up ads. They keep giving deals and all. And then we even sometimes while playing games, like there's one game called Flip Skater. I keep playing it and there's always an ad break coming after 4-5 rounds.
Okay, so they said they watched ads on TV, YouTube, games, and they look at influencers. Brands seem quite desperate to reach out to kids, don't you think?
Yeah, they're quite desperate. So actually, you know what? Let me give you a quick riddle. Are you ready?
Okay.
Alright. So what is common between Good Night, which is a mosquito repellent brand, and Horlicks, our iconic Parle G, and Savlon, which is another antiseptic? Take a guess.
I don't know. Have they all released a competition for IMA?
Yeah, maybe not. Here's the answer. Have a look.
पार्ले जी की शक्ति धूम मचाए सामने कोई टिक ना पाए छोटा भीम पार्ले जी खाए भीम 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 छोटा भीम छोटा भीम जैसी शक्ति देने वाला स्पेशल पार्ले जी.
Yup, the answer is Chhota Bheem. Can you imagine? Chhota Bheem has in fact endorsed all of these brands and in fact many others. And so we asked some kids how they feel about Chhota Bheem being in these ads.
Yeah, so I saw in a Chota Bheem movie. It's called the Himalayan Adventure. So in one scene, there was Chota Bheem, and he had a Parle G packet, and it has his picture on it. So he opens the packet and he gives Parle G to all his friends and all, and they suddenly get all these powers and they go to find the robbers.
Okay, wow. This is honestly one of the best brand integrations I've ever seen. But if you think about it, superheroes are like celebrities for kids. I mean, they have the same power.
Right. And since we're talking about celebrities for kids, let's come back to our YouTube sensation, Ryan. And you must have seen how fond of Ryan they are, right? And that's the deal with kids influencers these days, that kids look at them as a friend, as someone they can relate to.
Yeah, dude, but Ryan is pretty cute.
Right, he is. Okay, can you imagine someone as cute and little as Ryan having a lawsuit on him?
What? A lawsuit? Oh, that poor little kid.
Yeah. In fact, last year, his YouTube channel came under fire because a complaint was filed at the FTC, and the claim was that the channel administrators, basically his parents, they were not doing full disclosure whenever they were doing sponsored videos, which means that the lines between commercial content and their organic content was being blurred. And since a majority of their videos is actually sponsored by toy brands, and they cater to the age below 5, it meant that those kids were not being able to understand that they were being advertised to. So the claim was that Ryan and his parents were being unethical in their conduct.
Oh, wow. But products for kids have always been under really tight scrutiny. In fact, our favorite Kinder Joy was also banned in the US. Basically, it was because they have, in the US, there's a law about not having non-edibles like toys inside the edible product. And also, a lot of activists have been campaigning against Kinder Joy for advertising an unhealthy product, especially to primary school children, which is actually against the US law.
And the Kinder Joy ban in the US has actually rekindled the debate about the ethics of advertising to kids.
Yeah, there is a lot of literature on this topic. Did you know that brands are not even allowed to do marketing research with kids, let alone marketing to them? According to this product manager at a leading chocolate company in India, companies these days try to do whatever market research they can with mothers. I guess because mothers are the decision makers after all.
Right.
But in any case, I can't imagine doing any research with them. And we know this because this is what happened when we tried.
Why are you even asking me these questions?
Wow, that kid is really frustrated. I don't blame him. But on a more serious note, the laws today do not allow direct advertising to kids, and the ads need to have a parent in them, and they need to be as close to reality as possible. And this is evident from brands like Oreo or Maggie. And the Advertising Standards Council of India, or the ASCI, is an organization which decides the laws for advertising in India, and it works towards ensuring the protection of the interests of consumers. And apart from ASCI, the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission in the USA, is also looked at for identifying best practices. And finally, companies themselves have their own internal procedures and regulatory bodies, which need to be complied with whenever making ads for kids.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this sounds like there are a lot of legal hurdles for all of these companies, but brands have found ways to skirt these laws and play in the grey area. For example, Kinder Joy. The reason why Kinder Joy could advertise so heavily is because they actually claimed their advertisements were not for the food item, that is the chocolate, but actually for the toy that came with it. So what they claimed was that our toys are educational because you have to put them together yourself and there are instructions that come. And so we're actually an educational product. And that's how they got away with advertising so much. Let's just play it here.
खेलते बढ़ो बढ़ो सोचो सोचो सीखो तोड़ो मोड़ो मोड़ो तोड़ो घूमो घुमाओ भागो भगाओ इमेजिनेशन को और उड़ाओ इमेजिनेशन इमेजिनेशन को जोड़ो, इमेजिनेशन को जोड़ो, खेलो खाओ खाओ खेलो, इमेजिनेशन को जोड़ो, इमेजिनेशन को जोड़ो, 68 new surprises from Kinder Joy, इमेजिनेशन को जोड़ो.
Shady stuff. Shady stuff. And even we spoke to an ex-brand manager at Hershey's, and she told us that the law does not allow junk food to be advertised. So when Hershey's wanted to make its chocolate spread seem healthy, what they did was that they advertised their spread being applied on a paratha, and they claimed that their spread was very healthy. And when they were officially confronted, they said that those health benefits and nutritional claims were actually applicable when the spread was being consumed with the paratha, as was shown in the ad. And basically, they were trying to be, over smart about it. And another common practice in the industry is that brands know that they are not following the guidelines, but they let the ad be on air in spite of that. And they let it be on air until an official complaint is filed against them, and they hope that their desired message is actually delivered in that time span.
Okay, wow. This is honestly getting shadier as we speak about it. But another trend that I picked up from our conversation with the product manager was that now brands themselves are starting to move towards a more healthy portfolio. Primarily because children are getting so educated, and children themselves are kind of looking at this at nutritional requirements, and they are themselves trying to demand nutritional products. And so big companies like Nestle, Hershey's, Mondelez, they're all trying to move to like a healthy portfolio, whether it's investing in soy milk or yogurt. And I also think that like as laws become more and more strict in the coming years, it makes sense to do this. It makes sense to move away from junk food advertising and move towards like more healthy products. But another dimension of advertising that I think we should discuss is the impact that ads have on how we view society. And I'm quite sure that it must be super amplified for children.
Definitely. I think the effect that ads have on children is much more than on us as adults. And we're not denying that ads are good. Ads are definitely a force for good, and they have this huge advantage of providing information. But they also have adverse effects, and we need to be wary of that. And they often further stereotypes, and at a very young, impressionable age, this can have a huge impact. More specifically, I'm talking about ads like Barbie, which cater to just girls, or maybe ads like Hot Wheels or Transformers or Nerf guns, which are for boys. What do you think about this?
Yeah, in fact, I remember those ads so vividly. And I think that makes the responsibility on parents and caretakers even more like immense.
Right.
And it's good now. Parents are becoming more perceptive and aware about all of this. But I think there's still a long way to go, given how much content children are consuming. And I guess like some ways that a parent can deal with this is like demystifying the ad, telling children that it's not how the ad is portraying it to be. Like society is not like that. We spoke to the psychologist in Mumbai about this, and she had some advice for parents actually. This is what she had to say.
It's lovely to kind of have a conversation about what they see. So help them understand fact versus reality, and having open conversations about it. And apart from that, you can kind of help them understand that, okay, if advertising is so addictive, then what else can we do with it? That do we really need to know, what we say? How do we get to know of things? So you need advertising, but maybe we can kind of limit it to knowing that, okay, don't believe anything until you have had a first-hand experience. So set certain rules for establishing facts versus reality.
I think that's some very solid advice for parents. And I don't think it's just parents that need to assume more responsibility. In fact, brands themselves also need to have a much more responsible conduct. And it is heartening to see that some brands have actually realized that this additional responsibility, and they're being much more aware of this additional power that they have. And I think it is very important that more and more brands get inspired and be more responsible. A very good example of a good job done at kids advertisement is the very famous Haath Muh Bum ad by Unilever. Are you familiar?
Yeah, I know, that was quite an iconic campaign. Let's just play it here.
ओ सोनू याद रखना हाथ मुंह बम हाथ मुंह बम
क्या है ये हाथ मुंह बम?
बीमारी से बचने का तरीका
कैसे?
हाथ खाने से पहले साबुन से धोएंगे मुंह पिएंगे प्योरिफाइड पानी पिएंगे बम साफ टॉयलेट में शौच करेंगे
गुड हैबिट.
हाथ मुंह बम बीमारी होगी कम.
Yeah, and honestly, this was a really iconic ad and it created a huge impact. And I think we can only hope that more and more brands will take to such ethical stances in the future. But I guess that's a conversation for another day. And we'll cover that in our next podcast. So that's it from our end. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end.
Okay, tata, love you my दोस्तों.
बाय बाय.
Tata.
लाइक और शेयर कर देना.